time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? Coming to you guys live from the Minneapolis airport. And PFF grades are out. We've had time to kind of think about what happened. I'm excited to dive into the film as soon as I get back and I land later today. But I wanted to go through and just kind of look at, the instant reaction was, certain players played very, very bad. And a lot of our studs did. And so whenever we're looking at, blame or whatever, it's not so much of okay, it's this person's fault, it's this person's fault. It's more of like, okay, is this something that can be righted? Is this something that can be corrected? Is this something that the form can improve? Dang it. Shit. Sorry about that, guys. Got a call in the middle of the thing. Never a good thing, but that's okay. Anyway, when we're talking about the offense, okay, obviously not everybody was terrible. I do think that Brock Purdy had a very, very bad game. But whenever you look at whether it's QBR, passer rating, PFF grades, whatever, he's pretty much average across everything. 49, QBR, 50 is kind of the spot. He had a 61.2 PFF grade. 60 is kind of the average. Like Jake Tonjes, right, played one snap the entire game. He had a 60 grade. That's where everybody starts. And he just was average. But that's not the Brock Purdy we've been used to. So that's kind of the issue whenever you look at like, okay, well, what happens whenever you get average quarterback play? You get 17 points, right? And that number is absolutely my least favorite number in the world, that 17 one, because guess what? Every time we score 17 points only, we lose, whether that's, the Super Bowl regulation time, then you got the field goal later, all the 3 losses last year, in that 3-game skid. It's when the 49ers offense can't function properly, we lose games, period. And the NFL kind of average is right at that 21-point threshold. If you score 21 points, more often than not, you're going to win the game. Almost every single game. That's just kind of the barometer of what it takes to get a W in the NFL. When Brock Purdy's average, we don't get there. And, perhaps his QBR would have been different if you don't factor in the fumble that was kind of an interception/fumble. And then even the last play on third down, whenever you do that kind of screen, whatever you want to say to Debo, that should have been an interception too, but that was ruled a run play. So that would have been a fumble as well if Debo just didn't save it, got a chance to make the field goal, onside kick didn't go its way. But it was just weird. I really want to see Brock kind of settle down. And I know everybody's going to talk about the pressures, and rightfully so, because the offensive line was not great. Trent Williams gave up several pressures, was credited with 1 sack here. I want to make sure I get these numbers exactly correct. So if we're just looking at like pressures, Trent Williams gave up 4 pressures, 2 hurries, 1 quarterback hit, and 1 sack. Not his best game by a long shot. Now, Colton McKivitz is going to get a lot of blame, and rightfully so. He got absolutely just demoralized. 6 pressures, 5 hurries, 1 quarterback hit. That's where Aaron Banks gave up 2 pressures, 1 sack. Dominique Pooney, didn't have his best game in the run game for sure, and the film's going to show that. But gave up 3 pressures, no sacks, no quarterback hits. He's the clean one. Jake Brendel was the worst run blocking guy ever. He goes out there. He gave up 2 pressures, 1 quarterback hit, no sacks though. So offensive line was bad. We knew they were going to blitz. They blitzed 29 times. So you knew that was coming. But we didn't handle it well. A lot of it has to go on Brock Purdy. I looked up it's a 2-game sample size, so it's small. the average time in the pocket before throwing the ball. Brock Purdy is among the NFL's worst, holding the ball on average 2.9 seconds per game. You go back and you look at Brock Purdy, his rookie year, you're talking 2.3 seconds. You look at him last year, 2.5 seconds. So it's an entire half a second longer that he's holding the ball. Yeah, pressure's coming, and he's trying to find things, but people aren't getting open. And whenever you've got somebody like Brandon Ayuk, again, he played 61 out of 70 snaps. So he's kind of back to his snap count threshold, which is good, but he wasn't good at all. I mean, 61 snaps. He had a 64.6 grade. The film, we'll have to look at it, but he's not generating the space and consistency early and the confidence in Brock Purdy to get him the ball so quickly. That's just not there. Or whether that's because whatever, the holdout, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's what it is. It's not good. It's not there. And so you look at, his statistics, and it's like, okay, right now you got 5 targets. Last year's average was 6.5. He caught 4 out of 5 for 43 yards. Maybe he needs more targets. Maybe we just got to look his way more. You look at somebody like Debo, he had 10 targets, but he was electric. By far one of the best receiving games Debo had. 8 catches, 110 yards, and like 5 of those catches were high, behind him, into traffic, whatever else. Debo's not going to get the separation. I understand that. But Debo was awesome. George Kittle, 7 catches on 8 targets for 76 yards and a touchdown. Somebody else has got to step up. Somebody else has to deliver. And especially whenever you got Jordan Mason, I said on my pre-show, which I want to go back and I kind of want to cut some of my scouting report, because I said, like, Jordan Mason needs 24 carries. He got 20. The 49ers needed at least 27 carries to win the game. We had 25 rush attempts across the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, you were close, but your mistakes, that's what got you, and it just kept putting you in a hole. Now, PFF grades, Deebo Samuel was the highest rated, 81.6. Trent Williams, 80.5. His run blocking grade was elite. He had a 90.8 run blocking grade, but he had the penalty. Pass protection struggled mightily. George Kittle was 3, 78.3. Eric Saubert, who played 26 snaps because when Kittle went out, he was out there as the tight end 1. Didn't do bad. Really didn't do bad. 76.9. Great in the passing game. He had a 56.2 run blocking grade. Not great. He's not Kittle. Nobody is. Jordan Mason was 5th with a 68.1. But, like, we're in our top 5 and we're in the 60s. That should tell you something. That should tell you something. Because, again, 60s are average. That's just kind of where you start. 70 is kind of, that 70 range is your starter level. 80 is kind of Pro Bowl. 90s all pro, right? We only had 4 players in the 70s range. We had, only 17 players took snaps offensively for the 49ers. Dominique Pooney was our lowest rated player. Yeah, I gotta go to the tape. I gotta see it. He had a 49.8. Not good. Ronnie Bell got 6 snaps, 56.1. Kyle Juszczyk really, really struggled with his run blocks. There was a point in the game where he kind of killed a drive by himself, where he missed he missed a block on the perimeter that blew up Debo on one of his, lost yard whatever runs. And then the very next play, he missed a blocking assignment again in pass pro. And it was just like, man. And we were just in such a big hole. It just sucked. It sucked. So Kyle Juszczyk was awesome week 1. Struggled a little bit this game. Did have that awesome toe tap catch. So you always got to give him props there. Jake Brindle had a 59.2 grade. He just continues just to be a problem. Like, if I could change one thing, and I think this has probably been true for the past couple of years, get a new center. Feliciano was, competing with him during training camp. He's not coming out anytime soon off of IR, so he's still got some time. But it's like Jake Brindle is just killing the 49ers. Run drives, pass drives. He's a major issue. Now, right here, Roberto says, he's one of the worst centers in the league. I don't think he's one of the worst. There's 32 centers in the league. I'd probably put him 25th off the top of my head, maybe a little bit lower. It's just there's no upside. Like, you maximize the player's value, and it's awesome what the 49ers have gotten out of him. And I like that he's on the team, and I think he's a great backup center, and that's kind of what he should be. But it's just, man, there's no ceiling. It is just the best, kind of Jake Brindle game might be the 15th best center in the NFL. That's a major concern. That's a major concern. So take that for what you will. And yeah, I don't know about this. The 49ers, appreciate the comment. Shanahan hasn't learned from last year. I don't know what you're hinting at there, but Shanahan's going to Shanahan, for better or worse. And yeah, I'll never put like a fire Kyle or anything like that up on the chat. That's not who he is. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not. I don't believe in any of that stuff. We're not playing that. But it's concerning. It's concerning, no doubt. The offense works though. It's not like we didn't go out there and like do well. You rushed for over 100 yards as a team. You threw for 319 yards. Okay, like there's a lot of positives there. It's just you gotta play complementary football. And I said this on the show yesterday, where your offense has to deliver, keep the opposing team out there on the field, give the defense good field position. You didn't do that. You turned the ball twice over inside your own 20. You had the special teams freaking blocked punt, whatever. That was huge. So, like, the defense couldn't stop Sam Darnold without his number 1 and number 2 wide receiver out there. It's all the way across the board. So, if you want to put all of that on, Kyle Shanahan, that's cool. Coach got to get them right. But you also got to put all the wins on them, too. It's a both and. But I understand the frustration because I'm frustrated, too. Yeah, I think we all are. It's just what it is. Now, I want to jump over to the defensive side and kind of talk, probably for the majority of this show, just kind of what's going on over there, or perhaps what's not going on over there. But real quick word from our sponsor.
Football. You watch all the games. You know what's going to happen before it actually does. So why don't you put your knowledge to the test over at MyBookie, where you can bet on everything. Go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 49ERS, 49ers, or scan this QR code next to me, and they're going to match your initial deposit. Put in 50, you get 50. Put in 100, you get 100, all the way up to $1,000. Plus, you can bet everywhere. California, Texas, doesn't matter. I've been in California for years. I've used it for 6 straight years. Easy to get money in, easy to get money out, trusted source, and you can bet on anything you want. You want to bet on politics, any sport, you name it. They've got the casino if that's your thing. You name it, MyBookie is there for you. Now, make sure you use promo code 49ERS to get that double deposit. And MyBookie, bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Now, okay, let's jump over to the defensive side of the ball. And I think everybody kind of recognizes this. And whenever you when you watch the game, you felt like Fred Warner was amazing. He kept the 49ers in this game, and the scores come out. It might be his highest graded game I said yesterday it was his best game of his entire career, and the 49ers wasted it. He had a 95.8 grade, which is like one of the highest scores I have ever seen for PFF. So the fact that, the feeling at the game, you felt that way. You hear the players talk in the press conference. We got to match Fred Warner's energy. We got to do this. It's just incredible what he was able to achieve. And it stinks that this was in a losing effort. And so the fact that you wasted kind of Fred Warner's best game of his entire career, it hurts. It hurts. But he is absolutely incredible. Had the interception, had the forced fumble, forced another forced fumble, led the team in tackles. Just absolutely great. I mean, he's amazing. There's no doubt about it. And so it stinks. He's a captain. He's got to be one of the candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. But whenever you waste that on a loss, it's not going to get near as much credit nationally. Not that that's what, we're here for, but it matters because I want this dude kind of to be there. So anyway, Fred Warner, best player. He was the best player on the field for either team. nonstop, no issues, just unbelievable. Had a 94.2 coverage grade. Like, right, I said this in the offseason, like, the linebacking position has changed dramatically. It will never be the same after Fred Warner. Like, he has changed the standard, the bar of excellence, whatever, because of just how well he covers. There's lots of guys that can play the run well. Fred Warner is the best of the best of the best of the best whenever it comes to coverage. He's the greatest coverage linebacker of all time. Like, full stop. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Go argue with the wall. That's how good he is. I hate that we wasted that game on there. It's what it is. Diamador Lenore came in second with an 81.8 grade. I thought our corners were really, really bad, but not Demo. Demo was great. The issue is the safeties. Charvarius Ward had his worst game as a 49er. He was bad. He was really, really bad. And then you look at Isaac Yadam, who played 34 snaps, but they took advantage of him. A lot of the big plays were against 22, where he was just barely out of phase. It's not like he was bad or just getting burnt or whatever else. It's just, man, he was giving up a yard or two cushion, and Sam Darnold was freaking throwing dimes whenever he saw 22. It's frustrating. Third highest rated player, Nick Bosa, 78.5. Jordan Elliott, 20 snaps, 69.6. But again, we're now in the 60s. So we only had 3 defenders that were really worth anything, if I'm going to be honest. Fred Warner, Demo, Nick Bosa. That's it. The rest, 60s and below. Not good. Not good. Jair Brown had the lowest grade, 40.2. He gave up that 97-yard touchdown. Absolutely cannot have somebody falling behind you in a cover one situation, single high safety situation. You just can't do that. You can't do it. But he wasn't good anywhere else either. Like, he was constantly just getting torched. So the Vikings' game plan was go after our safeties, run the ball outside. Our corners, Charvarius Ward was so bad, man. It was so frustrating. Leonard Floyd, second worst player, 45.7. Kevin Givens, 50.2. Malik Collins, 51. Malik Mustafa, who got 31 snaps. Just, it's not there yet. And I'm going to keep saying this. He's going to be great, and I think he's probably going to be a starter for us next year. Not there. Just not there yet. Now, I do want to talk about Javon Hargrave, because I keep waiting for him to be an impact player of any kind, and he's just not. I would personally argue he is probably our 4th best defensive tackle. We only have 4. He's not good. I don't understand. When we signed him, I was so happy. And to have a $20 million a year plus defensive tackle who had the same amount of tackles as our quarterback, Brock Purdy, should tell you something. I mean, you look across, like, okay, Javon Hargrave had a 54 grade. It's substandard. It's sub whatever. Not good. 40.3 against the run. Terrible. 28.6 tackling grade. Terrible. He had as many missed tackles as he had tackles. 68 pass rush grade. He did get a little bit of push. Didn't affect the passer really at all, but he had 2 hurries. So got to give him credit for that. But it's just like, man, like, when was his last good game? Probably the Super Bowl was a good game. He played well there. But, like, you're talking about, like, maybe one quality game out of the last, like, 10 games that he's been with the 49ers. I don't know what you do. I mean, you can't cut him. Maybe after this year you do. But it's just, like, it's so concerning. It's just so frustrating when it's just, like, gosh, man, like, this guy's supposed to be a Pro Bowl level caliber player, and he is literally the worst defensive tackle we have on our team right now. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. He played 33 snaps. I don't know. He was so promising. He's just not there. I don't know what else to say. Yatur Gross-Matos played relatively well. He had 3 pressures on 26 snaps. That's huge. So it's nice to get him back and get him out there. Devondre Campbell played relatively well, 64.3 grade. Gosh, man, just those sustained drives. And again, back to my scouting report, I was like, look, the way that you play this Vikings team, you got to make Sam Darnold beat you on third down. That's what it is. And I said, is Sam Darnold the type of guy that could go down a full drive and convert 3 third downs in a row? I don't think he can. Well, guess what? He did it twice against us. in the second half. So maybe I should watch what I gotta say because I think he took it to heart. I obviously didn't watch, but it's what it is. It's frustrating. We're all frustrated. But here's the good news. 49ers are 1-1, and our get-right game every single year is against the Rams. Same old sorry-ass Rams, right? There might be the worst team in the NFL. Does that mean they can't beat us? Yeah, they can. But hopefully this is another one of those examples where we go down to L.A. and we handle business and kind of correct things because they are a dumpster fire. They just get blown out by the Cardinals. They're 0-2. Their backs are against the wall, but, we'll have to see with injuries because they have a minimum of 6 starters out. We'll have to see about, a couple other guys that got banged up this week. But we'll see. And we're going to break down the film. We're going to have all that, the 49ersrush.com and our Patreon. I'm going to go through every single offensive, defensive, special teams play. If you haven't signed up yet, go check it out. And I'm going to show you this is why these things are happening. Just snap by snap, walk through it all. So the PFF scores, that matches kind of the feel of the game. Now we'll just have to see what the coaching tape says. So we'll see that. Now, tomorrow, John and Wayne show. You guys know what's up there. And then Thursday, going to be over with Ant, which is going to be an absolute pleasure. We got to fix stuff. So you guys are awesome. Really appreciate y'all. My plane's going to be boarding soon, so I'm glad I got a little bit of a show out. But just want to say, it's early in the year, man. It's week 2. All your goals are still in sight. You got to work on things. It's better to work on things now than later in the year. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully the 49ers can right this ship against the Rams. But you guys are the best. And until next time, stay strong, faithful.